They rejected me.
Really?
They said, Greg, listen, you're great. You speak French, Spanish, English. Everything's on point. It's just you're a little bit junior. I said to the manager at the time, listen, I'm going to be a recruiter. I'll be back in a month's time to see if anything's changed. 25-year-old kid telling me he's going to be back, right?
Yeah.
Okay. A month later, I gave him a call, 8:30 in the morning. Every fiber in my body wants to be a recruiter, and this is what I want to do with my life. And he said, Greg, somebody resigned. I said, perfect. 20 years later, it's my company.
There you go.
Wow.
He was really upset about an $800 bill. He was on his way to come and get us.
He'll send his goons.
He was driving from Moncton to come and see us, and I was like, oh God, this is not good. So I diffused that call within 2 hours. That was my gift. Take a person, diffuse the issue, turn them from a real problem for the brand to an advocate for that particular brand. I was a nightclub DJ too.
No way.
Were you really?
What?
Welcome back, everyone, to the Marketing Department podcast. Today, we're here with Greg Benediba of Bilingual Source. Super excited to have you here, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure. How you doing?
Doing good. Doing good.
Good.
It's really hot here in Toronto, but we're managing.
Yeah.
Aziz, welcome back.
Appreciate it. Nice to be back. Thanks for bringing me back.
No, I know. I'm saying welcome back to you like you're not a host. That's
No, I'm excited to meet Greg today. We've been chatting for a number of months. Anish has obviously known him for a whole lot of a longer period, but we got to finally meet in person. You're probably like 7 feet tall. I don't know. I was like, whoa. But excited to have you here in the hot seat in our studio to have our conversation, learn more about Greg, his story, and
absolutely
just chop it up tonight.
Yeah. Greg, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do, your story in general, and kind of like how you came to where you are today?
Yeah, so my name is Greg Benediba, and I'm the president and CEO of Bilingual Source. We're Canada's largest bilingual-specific recruitment company. So all the businesses out there that need French-English talent, they come to us, and we're the guys and gals that go ahead and find them superstar talent. I've been in the recruitment business for 20 years. I started at Bilingual Source, and I'm still there till today.
Wow.
Started as a recruiter at the age of 25 years old. It's a really fun story. I'll tell you about that. But, it's been a beautiful journey. And I mean, through the time of being a recruiter and raising teams and making thousands and thousands of placements, I've learned a lot. And so as a result, I've gone ahead and taken all of that and started writing my book. It's actually in the final stages now. So it's called The Principles of Recruitment.
Amazing.
And essentially what I did is I took all the mistakes that I made and I centralized them all into a set of principles. They're really the training manuals that I use to train my teams. And that's kind of what I'm going to impart with the audience today. My beginnings are a very humble beginning. I grew up to a beautiful Moroccan family. They adopted me at the ripe old age of 2 days old at Scarborough General Hospital. So they came into a room with a bunch of babies, and they had been pre-selected for 2 years to adopt a child. And they walked in and they saw my beautiful blue eyes, and my mom fell in love. She's like, this is my boy. And so they adopted me. They raised me well. I grew up at Steeles and Bathurst, so in a predominantly Russian neighborhood.
Yeah. I went to high school very close there, Northview Heights.
Oh, okay.
Did you go to Antibes? Like, Antibes area?
I know Antibes really well.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And so Centerpoint Mall, those are my stomping grounds, right?
Wow.
Grew up in that area, worked, went through high school, obviously in French, elementary and high in French. I went to EB, Etienne Dorday, which is at York Mills and Leslie, right next to York Mills Collegiate. Then after that, all my buddies went to university. They knew what they were doing and they had a plan. I didn't. So I went right to work, and I worked in contact centers. My first real job was with Bell Express View, where I was a technical support agent. I did that in French, English, and that was the job that really taught me how to diffuse the most complicated calls. I remember there were some crazy situations. We had one guy call in, and he was really upset about an $800 bill. Yeah. And he was on his way to come and get us, like literally from Moncton, New Brunswick.
Yeah.
He'd send his goons.
He was driving from Moncton to come and see us. And I was like, oh God, this is not good. So I diffused that call within 2 hours. So that was my gift, is being able to take a person, diffuse the issue
Right.
and treat them well and turn them from a real problem for the brand to an advocate for that particular brand. Then I got recruited. I got recruited to go work for Dell Computer Corporation, which was a really good job. They're over on Gordon Baker Road off the DVP. Great company. I mean, I worked there from 22 years old to 25. All through that time, I was a nightclub DJ too. So I was.
No way.
Were you really?
Yeah, I was spinning
That's
tracks.
so funny.
So I have a full studio in my house. I love dance music.
Very cool.
So, back then I used to play trance and progressive,
Yeah.
house music, tech house, you name it. So
Nice.
I feel like
Can we pause here for a second?
yeah, of course, yeah.
So let's just. So I was a DJ too.
Are you serious?
I swear to God.
I did not
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah. So I DJ'd So I was a DJ. He was Aziz was an MC, and that's how we met. We met in
through
Montreal.
entertainment in Montreal. Yeah.
Hold on. What kind of music do you guys play?
So
Everything.
Yeah, we
really.
played everything, but like
Top
early
40?
on, it was a lot of like top 40 hip hop
Right.
stuff like that, R&B. But
Right.
then later in my DJ career, it was house music.
House music.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I love house music. I'll
Yeah.
show you some of my sets
sure.
and you'll see what you
That'd be
think.
cool.
I really like taking people through a journey. So that
Yeah.
for me is the whole thing. I've listened to so much dance music in my life. I've been a
Yeah.
DJ for like 30 plus years, right?
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
I love it. For me, it's like, I think for every successful person out there has to be a creative outlet.
For sure.
Whether it's the
Yeah.
guitar or singing or something creative, painting, right? I've seen a lot of people
Yeah.
do that. I think, because we're always using our right brain, the left brain activity is important.
Mhm.
And believe it or not, like sometimes when I'm spinning a set, I've been actually able to solve some of my biggest problems while in that state,
Wow.
Right.
right?
That's incredible.
Well, your brain's like creating new pathways and just new ways of exploring ideas, problems, situations, recollections. So you're mapping out things in truly creative ways during that moment.
Yeah,
Right?
it kind of reminds me the best kind of way I can picture it is I don't know if you guys ever watched the movie from Disney Soul. Did you ever
Oh,
watch
yeah.
that movie
Yeah.
Soul?
I haven't watched it, no.
It's a great movie. You need to
Yeah.
watch this movie. It's a great movie. In that movie, you see how when they play, they kind of go into that state,
Yeah.
that
It's
higher
like
level
euphoric.
state.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. Like I got goosebumps right now just thinking about it. It's like that's
Yeah.
the kind of energy. So when you go into a set, I mean, especially when it's a pre-planned set, you know what you're going to spin. You're just playing and you're
Yeah.
having fun. I mean, it's great. And
Yeah.
in listening to other people's sets, obviously I can come up with great ideas as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, I was a nightclub DJ. I was playing at System Soundbar. That was my main
Wow.
residency.
Yeah.
OG.
Yeah.
OG indeed.
Wow.
I was lucky enough to play at the Gov once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, the Comfort Zone. That was an interesting spot.
CZ.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
I mean, I got to play in all these places, and at the age of 25, I knew that I wanted to get a career. I didn't want to be a DJ my whole
Mhm.
life. No disrespect to the older cats out there, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to be like a 50-year-old guy that's going to be playing for 20-year-olds on the weekend. I
Mhm.
don't know. It wasn't for me. Also, I
Yeah.
had spoken to a lot of the older DJs, and I asked them about their family and their life, and a lot of them were divorced and had issues because
Mhm.
they're always
Sure.
traveling. They're always on the road. It's a hard life.
Yeah.
So I wanted a family and I wanted a career. So I was 25 years old. I had a bunch of customer service experience, and I made a decision.
Yeah.
So read a book, Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yep.
They'd influenced me, told me to write down some of my skills that I have and what it is that I lack.
For sure.
And talent acquisition came to mind.
Hmm.
And it was
Cool.
the moment, it was a pivotal moment for me. I really thought about it. I said, okay, if I want to run a business one day, how do good companies go and attract the best people?
Right.
And it's a real problem. And it's still a problem till today.
Yeah.
So I decided to become a recruiter. I said,
I love
okay,
that.
let's do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I applied to Bilingual Source. This was in April of 2005.
Mhm.
They interviewed me and they rejected me.
Really?
Yeah.
There's going to be a full circle story
Yeah, there's
here
a full
for
circle
sure.
moment here for sure.
They said, Greg, listen, you're great. You speak French, Spanish, English.
Yeah.
You've got great
Mhm.
references. Everything's on point. It's just you're a little bit junior.
Right.
And I remember I said to the manager at the time, great man, Stéphane Duquette, and I said, Stéphane, listen, I'm going to be a recruiter, and I would like to be a recruiter at Bilingual Source.
Yeah.
So I'll be back in a month's time to
Yeah.
see if anything's changed. And he probably thought to himself, like, who who is this kid?
Who is this guy? Yeah.
25-year-old kid telling me he's going to be back, like, I'll be back, right?
Yeah,
And I'm like, okay. So, I mean, that's exactly what I did. A month later, I gave him a call, 8:30 in the morning. I said, Steph, it's me, Greg. I want to be a recruiter. Every fiber in my body wants to be a recruiter, and this is what I want to do with my life.
Right.
I'm hoping you can consider my application again. And he said, Greg, something changed internally. Somebody resigned. And I said, perfect.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they brought me back for about 6 hours of grueling interviews. My Lord. And I think at the end of it, they probably thought this kid is either full of what, or he's going to be a star.
Right.
It's going to be one or the other. And
Yeah.
and so lo and behold, 20 years later, it's my company.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
What
how
a
was
story.
that? How was that progression for you going from young 25-year-old Greg to CEO of said company now?
Oh boy, there was a lot of different progressions in that time. I mean, we're talking about several lifetimes of experience there. I was a terrible recruiter at first.
Right.
I'm just going to say it point blank. What I thought recruitment was helping people find jobs. I had the customer service mindset approach. That's what I brought to it, right? Because I was a CSR. I wanted to help everybody that came across my desk. What I quickly, well, not so quickly, it took me about 6 months for it to click, is you can't help everybody. You just can't.
Fair.
You've got to be able to attract, as an agency recruiter, you have to be able to attract candidates that your employers will pay a fee for.
Right.
And it saddens me, but it's the truth.
Right.
There are a lot of great people out there that are unfortunately not at the caliber for an enterprise to be able to part with money for. And
Right.
For sure.
don't get me wrong, I still help those people. When I get on the line with somebody that's like that, I'll give them sort of a curriculum of things that they can do on their end to help improve themselves. But that was sort of the first real pivotal moment. From there, it was becoming a business development expert. So that's what I did. I crushed it on BD.
Right.
Every lead that was there, I was on the phone, I was speaking, making cold call after cold call after cold call.
Right.
I became an expert at getting through receptionists, aka the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
Right.
And I got a lot of employers on the line. I mean, I was very fortunate. There was a time when I was writing up easily 30 permanent search assignments per month,
Wow.
which could be anywhere between $300,000 to $400,000 of income
Right.
per month, right?
Wow.
So it was good. I did
Right.
really, really well. I worked my tail off. I learned how to organize, how to compartmentalize, how to not get flustered, how to be able to deal with all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And, I knew I wanted to be a leader. So I really positioned myself as a leader in the group. So helping others wherever they were struggling and making sure they were well taken care of.
Right.
And that's how I made it into management. I literally faked it until I made it, meaning I went ahead and did the things that a normal manager would do
Yeah.
in helping others and making sure they were all taken care of and being the most knowledgeable on all subject matters so that I was regarded as the leader. And then the recession of 08-09 happened
Mm-hmm.
and half the office left. And there we were. And they were looking at me saying, okay, you're now the lead. And I said, okay, let's
Wow.
go.
Right.
And that was the beginning of my leadership journey.
That's
That's
incredible.
when you actually took over like that CEO position.
No, that's when I became the manager of
Okay,
the
got it.
team.
Got it.
And then slowly but surely I moved up to VP.
Mm-hmm.
And the owner, he's a great man. His name's Tony. He's the founder. He's a genius. I mean, I love that man. He's taught me so much. He's done so much for me.
Mhm.
He's now in his 60s and he wanted to retire. So in
Right.
2019
Mm-hmm.
is when he came to me and said, "Here's my resignation letter. You're the president now. You're the CEO."
Wow.
Wow.
It's incredible.
And I said, "Thank you," because I mean, he's like I said, he's a very smart man. He's not a person to trust just anybody. So he had properly vetted me for many years
Yeah.
and understood that I was the right successor. So that's how it happened. It came with a great deal of patience. So
For sure.
there were many times in my career where a lot of people came to me and said, "Greg, what are you doing working for somebody else? Come and set something up yourself."
Mhm.
Right.
And, that didn't sit well with me. I'm an extremely loyal person.
Right.
Can that work for some people? Maybe not in certain cases, but obviously it has to be educated.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt that it was the best route for me, and it turned out to be exactly the right move. relationships to me matter more than money. A little bit of extra cash versus a little bit less cash at the end of the day, when you're talking about, just a little bit more wealth or a little bit less wealth, that doesn't matter.
Right.
At the end of it, what matters is the relationships that we take with us to the grave. And I hope that we can keep those relationships solid and never betray people. It takes a lifetime to build a reputation. It takes a split second to ruin it. We've seen this time and time again.
Oh yeah.
And so, that for me is a really core fundamental principle for me is loyalty and admiration for the people that helped me get to where I am in my life.
Yeah.
Really, really good values. There was something you said in the first few minutes of our conversation where I think it was in high school or at some point you didn't know yet what you wanted to do, but your friends did.
Yeah.
And if I recall, you said around 25 years of age, you realized you wanted to be a recruiter.
Yeah.
I just want to say it's absolutely okay for people not to know what they want to do for a long, long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for you to realize that at age 25, is incredible. But I'm also wondering, what would you share with folks that are in their 30s, 40s, maybe even 50s, still kind of chasing something that they're unsure about? They don't know what their higher calling is, what they're destined to be or do. How do you help those types of individuals in your life?
I think there's a very big difference between somebody in their 20s versus somebody in their 50s, obviously,
for sure,
for very good reasons. When you're in your 20s, this is a foundational phase. It's a phase of your life where you need to be experimenting. You need to go and do a bunch of things. In that same book that I told you about, Kiyosaki, he was on Wall Street. He was working for a hedge fund.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was making good money, and this was back then, like the 80s. He was making good cash, and he decided to pivot to, believe it or not, go work on a shipping container because he wanted to understand how goods were going across the Suez Canal.
Mm-hmm.
People thought he was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You serious? You're going to leave this maybe $500,000 a year position at your age to go work on a shipping container?
Right.
That's what he did.
Yeah.
So in your 20s, it's the time to experiment. It's the time to aggregate as much information as possible, to fail and fail well. That's the time to do it. In my mind, it's good to be established by the time you hit 30 to at least have a good idea of where you want to go so you can get some runway in your 30s and 40s and 50s. But you know what? I still speak to candidates in their 50s, let's just say, who want to pivot.
Right.
And so if you're somebody in those later stages in life, even in those earlier stages in life, here's the exercise. This is what you do. It's very simple. Grab a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. On the left side, put down the skills that you possess today. Do a little bit of introspection. Take the time to write down the skills that you possess. So are you a good communicator? Are you good with digital? Are you good with computers? What are your skills? What do you actually have?
Right.
Then ask yourself this question. The future version of yourself, what skills do they possess that the version of yourself today does not yet possess?
I love that.
And so now what you're doing is you're mining for the gap.
Right.
And that's the void.
Right.
That's where you're now looking to see, okay, where am I not yet gifted? And then, depending, of course, on if you're 40 years old, you've got 2 kids, a wife, and you've got a mortgage to pay, I certainly wouldn't let go of my job. I would do this on the side so that I could eventually make a correct transition based on the acquisition of these new skills.
Right.
But if you're in a position where you're single, you've got no debt, you don't owe anybody any money, you can afford to take a career break to now pivot, why not do that? Although I never recommend taking, leaving a job without having another one in hand, at least something
For
secure.
sure.
You want
100%.
to continue to have income.
Yeah.
But I think the fundamental question is what skills does the future version of yourself possess that you don't today?
Yeah.
And it's a tough question.
Right.
It really is. Because you really have to think. It forces you into clarity.
Yeah.
Understanding where you want to go and what skills you're going to need to be able to get there. And then you get busy starting to acquire them. And look at the world we're in today, guys.
Yeah.
I'm like a kid in a candy store. We have access to the world's information.
Right.
You want to get better at anything in this world, you know exactly how to do it now.
Yeah.
So information is no longer the commodity, right? It's everybody has it. You just got to be able to go and then apply it and do the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that people are able to find it and apply it and do the work? Or do you still think that people treat it like a commodity?
It depends. That depends on drive.
Yeah.
A lot of people think they want something and they think they want it, but when push comes to shove, they don't.
Right.
And on February 2nd, I see the gym every time. It's half empty, right?
Yeah.
Jan 1, packed, right?
Yeah.
Why? It's because consistency is the hardest thing to do, to remain consistent and to actually grind towards your goal.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite quotes is from Darren Hardy, one of my coaches who I love very much. He's the author of Success Magazine. He's a great man. I've been to California to see him. He says that lack of consistency is the subtle but great stealer of all dreams and desires.
Mm.
And it's so true, right?
Yeah.
If you're inconsistent with whatever you're doing, including social media, it's not going to yield you the results that you want.
For sure.
So you have to want it more than anything in the world. And you have to want it on days when you don't even want it. You still have to grind towards it. And that grind is probably my biggest asset.
Yeah.
Is, I get real clear on what I want and then watch out, I'm coming. And I don't just work 5 days a week for it. I work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
I'm always on it, making sure that goal and that dream comes to fruition. I think that kind of vigor and determination is rare in this day and age. So I'd give it about a 70-30 split. 30% of the people that really want it will do it. The other 70% will change their mind or flounder. But maybe that's their path and there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe they eventually latch on to something that gets them more excited. But excitement fleets, right? It's clarity on that vision, going for it, and then not letting anything stop you.
Yeah. That's a constant thing we're always trying to grasp, right? What you mentioned earlier about that constant growth, learning new skills, that it's not just about information, but discovering that gap and striving towards it. And I think that's something we actually do really, really well, which is discovering new tools, new technologies, new insights, new pieces of information that not only benefit us and kind of makes prospect future-proof, for lack of a better term, but also helps our clients and our partners try new marketing initiatives, strategies, tactics, etc. And then the consistency piece, right? It's like, even for, let's say, this podcast, right? It's the regular updates, sitting down on a regular basis, bringing in guests, having these conversations, posting every day, reminding even systems and processes, right? Like recently, we got rid of Slack. We got rid of a bunch of other tools that we're using. We're now on ClickUp, but making sure that our teams, our individuals are, again, being consistent by following certain processes. So absolutely with you on the growth mindset, which can never stay stagnant, right? Like I personally always love to make myself somewhat uncomfortable in any position that I'm in. I always say 80% comfort, 20% uncomfortable, because in that 20%, that's where you're going to grow. That's where you're going to unlock some new skills, some new relationships that could just change your world, right? And then being consistent with everything else, building routine in your daily life, personally and professionally.
And just having accountability, I think, has been like something that not that we didn't have it before, but we've brought kind of further along in our journeys. So like, Aziz has been around at Prospect now for about a year, and we have a third partner at Prospect as well. But the way that Aziz and I kind of like now mesh our ideas and thoughts and processes really is like, it's a win. It's a win for everyone that's sitting at the table, our clients, our employees, us,
everyone around
our
us,
families, right? Because like we can now take our individual thoughts, bring them together, and just kind of like expand together. We've had more growth in the last year that we've had in the last like 14 years previous to that, right? So like it's been incredible to see that. But I think a lot of it comes down to accountability, right? Which brings me to my next kind of like question for you. So, you went from newbie at Bilingual Source to now CEO, and you've seen I'm sure you've seen the progression of certain candidates going from, junior level positions, mid-tier, all the way up to, VP director level, maybe even CEOs like yourself. Is that something that you try to predict? Is that something that you try to like look for in a person? Or is it kind of like you're mid-level management, I'm just going to place you in mid-level management?
There's a lot of facets that go into making a great placement.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best predictor to future success is always going to be the past. Okay, so let's just take your partnership as an example. You guys have clicked well. If you were to look at each other as two circles, you guys have overlap on most things.
Right.
You won't have overlap on everything because you're two unique people.
For sure.
But you've got overlap on a lot of the fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
As a professional consultant, what I would do with an employer is map out a good placement.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, why does this placement work verbatim? What are the DNA values, in this case of Aziz, that have worked well for you, Anish?
Mm-hmm.
What are his personal values? What attributes does he bring? Okay. Listen, I hate to say this, but it's kind of like dating. If I was a single guy today, I would have a pre-screened checklist, which I'm sure a lot of people do. I mean, we'd be in a date with a girl, but she wouldn't know she's really being interviewed, right? Hopefully.
Yeah.
But that's really what it is. It's about knowing what you're after, your target, right? And I think that specificity is important. I'm sure that you guys do this in your socials constantly, right? And when you guys are consulting with us on our media, it's exactly what you guys have asked me is who's our target? What exactly are we looking for so that we can refine our message for them? Well, it's the same thing in a recruiting assignment. So when you start a recruiting assignment, you've got to be able to identify what your target is. And it's amazing what happens is all of a sudden, there's a part of your brain called the ARS. I think it's called the activated reticular system. It's kind of like when you go and rent a red convertible Mustang for the weekend, all of a sudden you see them everywhere, right? You're like, oh shit, there's Mustangs everywhere. There's the exact same amount of Mustangs as there's always been on the street, but you're noticing them more. It's the same thing that you're doing when you're searching.
Yeah.
So now you're basically setting up the foundation for the correct click. So if you imagine your company as a table with a puzzle on it that's unfinished, as a talent acquisition specialist, you're now feeling out different puzzle pieces.
Right.
And the only way to know is to have first felt the whole, to see exactly where exactly that puzzle piece is going to fit and clearly define that. So that when you find the right puzzle piece, it clicks.
Right.
I can hear the click of a good placement now.
Right.
It's a beautiful sound.
Yeah.
And it happens just naturally, organically.
Yeah.
You don't force it. You never have to force it. When you're forcing it, you're going the wrong way. You're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
But that's the way you do it.
Yeah.
And when you find that, you position it properly. So there's a lot of things that go into positioning a good placement. I mean, that's what I've done for organizations. And like, I mean, I get calls sometimes from guys that I placed 17, 18 years ago that tell me, Greg, I'm still very much with the company. In fact, now I'm leading the group and I want you to recruit for us.
Right.
It's like, wow, that's amazing.
Wow.
That's a good placement. Think about it. 18 years, that's longer than some people's marriages, literally. Like, I mean, it's like, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
How does that happen? It comes by first understanding what the position is completely. People think they're going to write up a job description and get the right person. That's not the way it works.
Right.
You got to be very clear on your values. What's your DNA? So, I mean, this is an exercise that I do with employers. I go through the attributes of what their current team possesses. And so what we look at is we have them pick 3 different attributes. So I'll give you some examples of what I look for on my team. I run a sales company, but I don't want like Yahoo salespeople. So the very first thing I look for is selflessness. So one of the key interview questions that I ask is, tell me about a time, Anish, when you did something for somebody else without expecting anything in return. And I test their selflessness to see if they have it.
Right.
What's the depth to that answer?
Right.
I want to understand that first. Once you've got the right DNA, you can build upon that.
Yeah.
The core characteristics of the person are there. Skills will come later. Skills are easy, especially if they're very growth oriented, which anybody should be in this market.
Absolutely.
But DNA, you can't fake that.
It just comes natural to that person.
It's unique to them. It's, truth be told, it's how they were brought up. It's how it's the life that they went through, the pain that they went through, the suffering that they went through, how many lessons they've learned along the way, the grit that they have, the callus that they've built as a result of that. I've been through hell in my life. This is why I've understood how to do things well, to have a seamless life. It's because I suffered greatly, and that's how you build a good team. You get the DNA right. So now you have a map of what the right person looks like. Then you interview based on those DNA qualities. The other thing is, a lot of employers will make a decision in an interview within 3 minutes. It's been said, right?
Right.
In an interview, they'll decide within 3 minutes if they like the person. I like Aziz. At least he's a good guy, right? And so what you're doing cognitively the rest of the interview is acquiring data to further prop up the cognitive bias that you've set up in your mind, which is I like him. Even if he says something that's weird or counterintuitive or doesn't mesh with the DNA that I've preset, because I like him, my brain won't let me rule him out.
Right.
So I always tell employers the exact same thing. Don't make a judgment call until the end.
Right.
Because in the end, what this forces you to do is to aggregate more data, to go through your questions, to be sure that this person possesses the skills, the DNA, the qualities, the values, and then, and only then, make a judgment call, and usually sleep on it. Because the next morning, when you're closest to that spiritual time, let's call it, it's then and there that your brain will send you a signal to say, hire this person.
For sure. I have a question that I think a lot of people want to know, because we've seen, even on our end, like we've seen the answer be 1 and we've seen the answer be like 8. From your perspective and having Bilingual Source as your home, right? What would you say is the correct number of interviews that someone, like a company, should hold to hire for a position today?
If they're doing it on their own?
Sure.
If they're doing it on their own through traditional channels, 8 is too high a number. And really, I'd have a lot of questions around the pre-screening methods. Are these pre-screened candidates, or are they just like raw resumes that they
top of the funnel? Yeah.
Like, is this top of funnel stuff or bottom? Like, I'd have a question there, but on average, I would say about 5.
Okay. On
average. Listen, when you're getting into the 8 to 10, what this tells me is you haven't created the right system around your recruitment. Like, I'll give you an example around that. I was doing a graphic design position for actually a very famous chocolate company here in Toronto. They used to do chocolate for Mr. Beast. Right. They came to me for a graphic designer. And I thought about the search. I didn't get it going right away. I thought about it.
Right.
And I said to myself, with artistic roles like this, what I've seen happen before is, you interview somebody, they like the person, they get them through to the second phase, they like them again, third phase, oh my God, it's great. And now they do the test, which is the graphic design element, and the person fails.
Right.
Because they don't have the style quality that the employer is looking for. Mistake.
Yeah.
Take that test, bring it right to the beginning. In fact, bring it right to the beginning along with the resume submission.
Right.
Yes.
Meaning, here's the test. I would like for you to perform this test. Here's what we need, along with your resume, and submit that to me. What that's going to do is it's going to weed out the 95% that are not serious, and by the way, are being sent to you by bots. That's a whole other story.
Right.
There are sites like Lazy Apply and a lot of junk that's just spamming everybody's inbox with nonsense.
Yeah.
So it's going to weed all that out. And that out of, like, just say the 5 to 10% that are actually going to make it through, you're going to now identify the 2% that actually belong on a call with you.
Right.
So if you're having to interview 10 people to get to the right person, you need to revisit your system. Because, listen, think about it. If I'm interviewing 10 people, let's assume an hour each, okay? That's 10 hours of my time.
Right.
What's the value of 10 hours of your time? That's a lot of money.
Right.
If I can reduce that to 2 interviews,
why not?
much better.
Yeah.
And you can reduce that if you think of your process through, right? And so this is where I come in. I basically teach employers how to do this and how to set up their frameworks. When a company uses me, they don't have to meet more than 2. And oftentimes they'll come to me and say, Greg, I'm really having trouble deciding between the 2. And I typically suggest that they hire both. And you may think that's funny to command another fee, but it's actually really intuitive. When you find two really good people, let's just say you have a subpar player on your team, now's the time to do the switcheroo.
You know what's so
right.
funny? We just did this with our design team.
Yeah.
Not like two from the design team, right? So we have two, obviously not going to name names, but like we have two website designers, and design in general, creative work in general, is very difficult to hire for because it's subjective. Everyone wants something different. Everyone has a different idea of like what they like or don't like, and so on. Even if you have brand guidelines, even if you have all these things, especially in our space where we work with many different brands, right? So one will always differ from the other.
Yeah. So many different industries too, right?
Exactly.
There's CPG, industrial clients,
Yeah.
recruitment,
Construction,
everything.
Yeah, everything. And so from our perspective, that's exactly what we did. We put the test right at the beginning and we said, design our website in your creative way and perspective. And really it wasn't to see if they would come up with the nicest design for Prospect Digital, right? Which is now going to be called Hey Prospect, but it was to see like, can they apply their brain, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
actually be creative without a lot of input.
Yeah. And strategic.
Right? Because a lot of times there's always a gap, right? Either they can design well and use Figma or Adobe well, but then they can't be strategic in thinking like, why should I place this color on this website in this position, right? And they can't marry the two. So
I was going to add to that. So if you remember, I think we had 3 candidates, 2 of which we did hire, but there was a third candidate whose portfolio looked fire, but we realized after that portfolio was definitely finessed. That was not his actual work.
No.
And his mock-up for the case prompt was so bad. I'm pretty sure we had tears running down our cheeks laughing. We're like, there's no way.
There's
Like,
no
there was
way.
such a big disconnect. And
It's not him. And that's the thing. Now people are using all kinds of tools and they think they're going to fool you. You're not going to fool us. We know what's going on.
exactly.
Yeah. Imagine if you were qualifying me for a DJ gig, how would you do that? Just my resume? No, you'd ask me to come on down.
Yeah.
Here's some decks and play, right? And let's see what you got, right?
Yes,
Like I mean, that's what it is. And so the same has to be true. Take your time when hiring. Hire slowly, fire quickly.
Right.
And hopefully you don't have to fire because you've done the hiring correctly. When I interview people for my team, specifically, I always take them for a walk when it's nice outside like it is now.
Right.
I go for a walk with people.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how much you can learn about how a person walks.
Right.
Do they got the hustle? Are they moving around? How are they thinking? Sometimes I even like to do a job shadow with them.
Yeah.
So I'll sit them down next to me and I'll show them a problem that I'm facing. And then I'll ask them a question. What would you do in this case?
Right.
And I just want to, not that they're going to know the answer. It's just, can they think critically?
Yeah.
right.
With a design project, you can do the exact same thing, even with a finalist, because sometimes you don't know. Like, let's just say if I were given that task and I was pretending to be a designer and you gave me the website, I would surely use tools to figure out how to best redesign the site so it's optimized.
Right.
Do I really understand what I did, or is it just AI doing it for me?
Right.
The only way to truly know is live to air, face to face. So investing time at the beginning, that's what I mean by hire slow.
Yeah.
Investing time at the beginning by sitting the person down, show them a problem, show them something that's going on with one of your clients, and see what they would do. Have them run you through their thinking so you can see if they've got the brains to be able to handle the job. It's another little step. I love doing job shadows. I think it's a brilliant move. And most corporations can do it. Some can't because of privacy laws, et cetera. I get it. You don't want a bank doing this, right? For sure. A person to look at your bank account. That's obvious. But I think there's cases where the job shadow is excellent.
Right.
And it can create an increase in your probability of being right. if you can increase your probability of being right from 85% to 95%, that's tremendous.
Right.
You're never going to be 100% right.
Yeah.
But increasing it slowly but surely through these methods is a great way to do it. And then eventually you'll get a knack for that system. Another key point, when I interview for my team, I use a pro forma checklist of questions.
Right.
A lot of people, what they do is they'll go and ask different questions of every person. You don't want to do that. Always ask the same set of questions, because the only thing that is static in the interviews is the questionnaire.
Right.
And now you can compare the answer from candidate A, B, C, D, E through time based on that one questionnaire. So you will always remember how the other person answered it, and you'll be able to do an inter-candidate comparison, because the one static point is the questionnaire.
Yeah.
So build the questionnaire first based on DNA, based on principles, and the values of the corporation.
Yeah.
And
Standardize it.
Standardize it, make it pro forma, don't deviate too much, stick to the plan, and it'll deliver results for you.
Have you ever gotten a candidate just straight up say, no, I won't do the case study or the case prompt? Because I have multiple times.
Yep.
And usually I found that it is senior creative talent.
Yep.
And I feel like at some points it's a kind of an awkward or weird point of the interview process where, let's say it's a creative director, obviously senior, they've got an amazing tenor with whatever brand or agency they're in, but the response is like, unless it's a paid case study prompt, I'm not going to touch it respectfully. Sometimes they'll get upset. Sometimes they're respectful and chill about it. But how do you kind of navigate those types of conversations? Because it is an active thing that agency owners and marketing teams or advertising teams, I'm sure they face on a constant.
Yeah, it's something that happens a lot. I've experienced this where people will say, no, thank you. Well, I'm not doing this project, because really what they're thinking is you're basically stealing my work. You're having me do all of this work for free.
Right.
The fact of the matter is, you don't need another website.
Right.
Your website is great.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not the purpose of the exercise.
Yeah.
And so if they don't understand that, I think there's a flaw. Now, if this was you doing like a serious project with a case study where it's a lot of work that you could then take that and leverage it to use it, obviously I understand that. But the project itself, the test itself, has to be designed in a way that it shows the person that this is not for me, man.
Yeah.
This is for you.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm going to tell you right now, as a senior executive, if I was on the market for a new position and I was interviewing to become, a senior leader in a recruitment company, if they asked me to dance, I'd say, okay, no problem.
Right.
And I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Why? A couple reasons. Even if they are using me, let's just say that were the truth. I've just gained more experience.
Right.
What am I going to do with those 2 hours? Watch Netflix?
Yeah.
No, seriously. This is another piece of experience. You've given me a problem to solve. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think, and if you're out there and you've been hurt by, an employer doing that to you and they did it for nefarious reasons, I'm sorry. That's not a good thing. Probably put a stain on their glass door. But I'll tell you now, most companies, they're not doing it for that reason. They're doing it because they want to be sure. Employers have been burned time and time and time and time and time again.
Right.
They are tired.
Yeah.
They've been promised the stars and the moon over and over again. They're not buying it. It's like a person that's jaded and has been on the dating market for such a long time. They're like, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to stay single.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of what it is with employers, because they've been hurt so many times.
Yeah.
So what they want is to increase their probability of being right in the next hire. And quite frankly, if somebody doesn't want to do the test that you're providing them, then let them walk. And they're not really your cup of tea, because, and again, this may be taboo to say, I may get some haters for this, but I'm going to tell you right now, is that not going to be the same person that if you give them a project at work and maybe that one's going to extend beyond business hours, they're going to say, hold on, this is right.
Yeah.
So
They're gonna
true.
push back.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
So true.
maybe they're that kind of person. And does that fit with your culture? Now, don't get me wrong. That may be a really good person, but they might be better for a different culture. So it now depends on the culture you want to build. And again, as long as your test is not, it's easy to see that the test would provide no value to you except to understand whether or not the candidate is the right person for the job.
So to that, like what I've done as an example in the past, when I was, let's say, hiring a strategist role, I hadn't asked those candidates to go out and build a 30-page deck. All I want to know is, where would you go for the research? What insights would you look for? What would your approach be? you could just literally hit me back with bullets, because I want to understand how you're formulating the next few steps moving forward. I just want to understand how your brain works, how you're going to create that intersection between a business strategy and creative strategy. Don't do the work. I just want to understand your thinking. And that would probably just take half an hour to an hour's worth of their time without them actually putting something physical, not physical, but a digital deck in front of me. I don't care how the deck looks or what's in it. I want to understand how your mind works.
Right.
And then you'll make it to the next phase.
You know, these hoops are all mechanisms to weed the people out that don't belong in your enterprise. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Okay? And then, you know, it's what it is. They're lucky. Listen, a half-hour little test like that is nothing. Some companies send them psychometric testing that is like 2 hours long, where you're sweating by the end of this thing. You know, like, I mean, it's intense. Like,
you don't know if your answers are right or wrong, because there is no right or wrong.
There is no right or wrong.
Right.
And then they got a psychologist on the back end who's now grading you based on different categories and specific criteria, right?
Yeah.
Listen, if you're on the market, you got to do what it takes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Again, like when I told you I was ruled out at Bilingual Source, and they grilled me for 7 hours of interviews. By the way, I've never been interviewed like that. It was crazy.
Right.
6-7 hours of interviewing. And at the end of it, they asked me to write an essay on the 5 qualities that I possess and how they're applicable to the job. I got that done that night.
Was it in French?
No, I did in English. 'Cause the owner didn't speak French at the time. So well, he doesn't speak French anymore at all. But I wrote it in English, but that essay was done. And there was no GPT back then. I wrote it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I wrote it and I had it on their desk, proofread that night, man. I was serious.
Yeah.
You had 3 more hoops for me to jump through? Not a problem. Yes, sir. How high?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it would have been.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the attitude that I bring to the table. And I think you can,
That's it.
you can tell a lot by what I like to call the dance. So when you're dancing with a candidate, you can learn a lot, because, you know, the first interview, everybody's putting on, you know, their suit and tie. They want to be prim and proper. But later on, when you go to coordinate things, when you go to follow up, when you go to set up another interview, how quickly are they responding to you? When you got a test for them, how quick? It's all in the dance. You're kind of inspecting what you're going to get later on.
Absolutely.
100%.
And listen, I'm a firm believer that there's a place for everybody in this world. Okay. But fundamentally, you know what you want, and you got to weed the rest out, right? Those people will find their home somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know what the raw truth is too? No one owes you anything.
Nope.
No.
You got to like do the work, go out and get it.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Otherwise, someone else will.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
like
it.
someone else is willing to put in the work that you're not willing to. So, you know, and we see this all the time, like in our circles. And I'll speak for mine right now, but, you know, in our circles, there's always that person, the couple that is complaining all the time and putting in the least amount of work, you know, and that's what it is right now, is like the world wants the fastest results with the least amount of work, right? And that's just not what employers are looking for, right? They're looking for quality. They're looking for longevity. As an employer ourselves, it costs us a lot of money to train, right? To bring the right tools to your environment, right? These subscription costs are insane, right? Just Adobe alone.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. So when you are putting time, effort, energy into bringing on these candidates and hiring them, essentially, for you to not do that right costs you a lot of money, right? And that's why Bilingual Source does so well, because they mitigate that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's there's so much to be said about what you just said there. I mean, it's the time to train them. It's the time. And if you get it wrong, here's the thing. When you get it wrong, oftentimes your team knows before you do.
Oh yeah.
They know.
Yeah.
And they're now looking at you saying, how come you hired this person? I would have known right away. Right. So now they're looking at you as the leader and saying, does he really know what he's doing? It's obviously the time to train them. It's also the lost opportunity cost.
Yeah.
So let's just say you're training somebody for 3, 4, 5, 6 months and they're the wrong person. Had you had the person in that seat that was correct from the get-go, what would have been the impact on your customer? What would have been the impact on the team? the synergistic impact, right? When two people get together that work really, really well,
Right.
there's a synergy there.
Yeah.
And that synergy is actually compounded, meaning two people that are superstar players working well together are probably the equivalent of a team of 7 or 8 B players.
Right.
They can run circles around them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
As well, when you hire the wrong people and you hire, say, a B player or a C player onto an A team, you are alienating your A players immediately.
Sure.
I was on a call yesterday with a buddy of mine down in the States. He's a professional headhunter just like me. And he was telling me how he was really upset that there's so many people that are there. They're slacking. That's why he likes to call me, because he likes to feel the vigor of an A player, somebody who really wants it. And he's not getting that there.
Right.
It's a matter of time before he leaves. So if you don't fix these talent issues within your corporation, the writing's on the wall. It's a matter of time.
Yeah.
It's a matter of time before you dissolve. So there's a lot of hidden costs there. Never mind payroll tax, CPP, EI. If you're using an agency, there's the onboarding costs there, the tools. And let's face it, when you're training somebody, you are not doing something that you should be because you're in the training room, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you're now taking away from your entity to literally give a piece of yourself to that person. Like, that's how I consider when I train somebody. Like when I'm here with you guys, I'm giving you a piece of me, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly how I do it in the training room. So you're giving a piece of yourself. Well, if you give too many pieces of yourself away, eventually you're left with nothing, right? So you got to be mindful of who you hire. Again, hire slowly, be sure they're the right one. Again, I like job shadows. I like proof of concept. I like to make sure that the person can walk the walk. Are they going to make mistakes? Of course. But, as long as they got the right attitude and a growth mindset, that's a very important one. By the way, key question that you should ask in an interview, this is what I do to check up on the growth mindset, is what is the last thing that you chose to learn and what medium did you use to learn it?
Yo, we're putting that down.
Yeah.
That's a solid question.
Yeah.
It's an important question, especially today.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. Look at how like GPT is evolving every other week, right? Like, I mean, how can you stay stagnant? I mean, if you're not learning something right now, then what are you doing?
You're behind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you should at least have a list of things that you'd want to invest your time in.
Yeah.
Like, if you ask me that question, I got a whole bunch of things that I'm working on right now. So,
Yeah.
so you want people that are continuously growing. I don't care if it's reading a book, listening to audiobooks, listening to podcasts, YouTube videos, whatever it might be. As long as they're doing that, because if they're not, that's a clue.
For sure.
It's a clue. You want people that are going to have a ferocious appetite for knowledge acquisition on their personal time.
Right.
Yeah.
Because this stuff can't be done during business hours, because you've got to produce during business hours. Early morning, evenings, weekends. That's when your structured learning time goes. And if you do that, you'll level up your career.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Now, you have candidates, obviously, that you have to appeal to and accommodate and so on. But then you also have the client side that have, you've got a large responsibility there to find them these candidates and so on. How do you get that sale, and why do employers choose Bilingual Source or Greg or someone from your team? And once you do land the gig, how do you then market that position to your Rolodex or go out and find that position? How do you, incorporate sales and marketing essentially into your day-to-day?
That's a good question. This is why I wrote the book Principles, right? Recruitment Principles, is because I need to impart this information with the world of recruiters. Trust is your only sustainable competitive advantage, point blank. Trust takes a long time to build. You don't know somebody after an hour or two. It takes years.
Yeah.
It takes watching their behavior. It takes seeing how they do things, especially when things go wrong. That's when you really get to know somebody. When everything's hunky-dory, it's all good, right? Everybody's getting paid, everybody's happy, right? But when something goes awry, something goes wrong, it's in that moment when you really know who you're dealing with.
Right.
And again, customer service is my background. When there's a problem, we're going to take care of it. I want to put the person's mind at ease. It's going to be dealt with. Let's just say it's a candidate that's not working out for some reason, which is very rare in my books, but it happens from time to time. We're going to fix it. you now become top priority. Refilling that position, and delivery is paramount. Delivery is non-negotiable on everybody's front, whether it's the client or the candidate. And I think people can feel it. Like when they work with me or work with my firm, it's not a ploy. It's not just us trying to sell them. It's what we're living every day.
Right.
We want to bring the best talent to their organizations, and we back it up with action. When a client calls me and wants to hire, I basically go through a very deep intake call. Oftentimes, what I call the deep dive. In fact, we're trademarking that. We're in the process of doing that, and we're going to be putting the deep dive on our website soon with an iteration of what exactly that means. We want to know what the root reasons are for the position, what the position is. Like, I mean, I go as far as, may I come to your office and listen to some of your reps take calls? Because what I'm really after is I want to know what the customer is saying.
Right.
If I can hear some calls about what the customer is saying to that rep, or, let's just say it's a credit analyst, the customer who's looking to purchase a vehicle, what they're actually saying to that credit analyst in this auto finance company, I can listen and I can be like, yeah, I get it. Now I know what you need, because I know the challenge behind the role.
Right.
And so you'd be surprised. Most HR professionals in the corporations that they themselves work in don't really know what it is that they're recruiting for. Because they get a job specification, but they've never actually taken the time to go sit on that team and listen to a call, or sit with their marketing department to actually understand what this particular designer may be doing.
Yeah.
They've never done that.
Pain points.
They're busy. Listen, I'm not blaming them. Again, I'm just stating facts here. They're busy. They're working on 50 different requisitions. Greg, where would I have the time to do that? I agree. It's hard. Where do I have the time to do it? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
We got to make it a point to understand what that position is truly all about. Once I've got that, and I know what the team is, I've got the DNA, I've got the values, I then get busy recruiting.
Yeah.
We've got a multitude of different sources. So we've got an arsenal of sources, both AI, non-AI. We call. Now it's a volume game. You get on the phone, you speak to people.
Yeah.
And build rapport, build relationships. If that person that I'm speaking with is not the right person, I'll consult, help them in some way. That's the thing. In every call, I look to add value. In every call. So whether I'm talking to a person, listen, I had another guy call me just this morning, saying, hi, I need a job, but he didn't speak French. So I took a second and I said, okay, what kind of job are you looking for? He's like, well, I want to be in construction. I said, okay, go to Manpower. He's like, who? Manpower. That's the agency for you. That's where you should go. Call this number, give them a call.
There's value right there.
There you go. Like, I mean, I want to help him. The poor guy, he's looking for work, right?
Yeah.
That's the attitude you have to have. If you do that in every call, people will all of a sudden regard you. And it takes time to build that kind of a reputation, but they'll regard you as the go-to because they know you care and you don't have a bad bone in your body.
Yeah.
If you're out there just to make a fee, you're going to be short-lived.
Yeah.
100%.
This is a trust game. It's a long-term game. You have to live it. You have to breathe it. And you have to walk the walk every day too, which is, by the way, the hardest part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bilingual Source, obviously your company, your team are placing individuals that speak French.
Yeah.
I want to quickly just chat about the power of language and French in this case, right? I've lived in Montreal for a number of years. My wife is trilingual. One of the language she speaks is French, and I've seen how it's benefited her career. For you, as somebody who speaks French, and you mentioned, I think, Spanish as well, you've got Bilingual Source. For anybody that's out there that's listening that currently knows French or is taking French lessons, they're trying to figure it out, what would you say is some of the biggest positives and just life-changing moments in knowing the beauty of the French language, especially in a country like Canada, where we're lucky to have two national languages? That's
a good question. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for the French language. I'll start there. So, I mean, French has gotten me in through many different doors. A lot of advantages, some disadvantages, believe it or not.
Interesting.
Very big disadvantages.
Okay.
So I was working at, and listen, again, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. I'll state that right now. But, getting into a company, obviously, because you have the French, it'll be easier. In terms of salary, you can expect anywhere between 20 to 40% more. There will be jealousy sometimes from your English counterparts. but you have the skill. So
Yeah.
you're in checkmate there, they're in checkmate there. The only problem I've ever had with the French language is because it's so hard to find, they don't want to promote you. They need you in that seat.
Oh.
Interesting. I never thought about that.
Yeah. So I wanted to get into sales at Bell,
Yeah.
and they kept me in support. And I was like, I get it.
Right.
And they promoted a bunch of people around me who were
Interesting.
not as clear communicators as I was, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And they moved them into sales, and I got it. I was like, okay, I know why.
Yeah.
So I knew my time was up there because I'm not going to stick around.
Yeah.
That's why I left Dell, and that was great. They promoted me into corporate relations. But that's the only disadvantage of knowing French. Sometimes, not all companies. Some companies promote very, very well. But
Right.
Yeah.
in my experience, I've had it be the other way, which is they don't want to move you because they're thinking, well, this guy's taking calls in like 2 or 3 languages. Like, I'm not going to find
Yeah,
another
it's
one
a
like him.
unicorn.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
good luck, right? Keep him there, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you're not going to keep him there, bro.
Yeah.
This
exactly.
kid's he's gonna move on. So
Yeah. Well, they got to come to you.
yeah. So yeah, that's the only thing. But French has been phenomenal. Obviously, when you're traveling, it's very helpful. It's always good to know another language. I don't know what's going to happen with the future with AI. I mean, now we've got instant translation. There's a lot of things coming. Voice agents.
Yeah.
So I'm watching carefully. We'll adapt. We'll pivot. It's not a problem. It's just it's an interesting world. But it's good to know languages, especially Spanish. You'd be surprised when I take my family down to Punta Cana. And I'm obviously a very white guy. They don't know that I'm Moroccan inside, but I'm a white guy, and I'm down in Punta Cana, and I say, "Hola, señora, cómo estás?" And she's like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
well, who are you?" And then they let you right in, right? You get VIP access because you speak the lingo, which is good. It's like a connection mechanism.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. It builds a bond, an instant bond, because
Yeah.
you can speak that person's language, right?
100%. 100%.
So 2019 was the year that you took over as CEO. And then 2020 was the pandemic. What was that like? I feel like the recruitment space, a lot of employers, at least the ones that we were working with, were cutting, right? Cutting employees, cutting costs, completely shutting down. What was that like? And taking over Bilingual Source at such a pivotal moment in the world.
Yeah. Talk about a curveball.
Yeah.
Here you go, Greg. You're the president, and all of a sudden, COVID.
Yeah.
That was hell, guys. I mean, it was hard.
Yeah.
COVID was tough, man. We were all scared. We were all sitting at home, masks on, watching Doug Ford talk. I mean, it was a crazy time, right?
Yeah.
I always think back in critical moments to focus on what you can actually control.
Right.
That's all you can do. And tune out the noise.
Mm-hmm.
So news was getting me really stressed out. I cut it out.
Yeah.
I had people fill me in.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I literally cut it out. I didn't watch the news. In fact, I posted one post on Facebook, and I got nothing but hate in my personal Facebook account because I said, the news is not good for you. Stop watching it. But I adopted that. I stopped watching the news. And instead, I basically took the time to get my team together and lead.
Right.
And I think those are the moments when leaders cannot hide behind a screen.
Yeah.
You got to be visible. You got to be there.
Yeah.
And I did 3 things in that time. 1, I told them that I knew how they felt because I felt it too.
Mm-hmm.
2, I told them that it's going to be okay. And 3, I gave them a game plan.
Right.
And here was the game plan. We just went from 130 requisitions to 15.
Mm-hmm.
The market just vanished.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nobody was hiring. Some people were still trying to figure out what Zoom was, remember? I took the time to train my team.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I said, let's sharpen our swords.
Right.
This is the time for us to develop our skill, to build the muscle necessary for what's going to come next.
Yeah.
Because this will not go on forever. And thankfully by then I had already been through a recession. I figured it was going to be about a year.
Yeah.
08, 09, I remember 08, 09, like September of 08 till about September of 09. That was the drought. That was the time that was difficult.
Yeah.
The good thing about our firm is that we don't let people go.
Right.
We don't. Okay. Because they're on commission. And so during that time, obviously earnings were less, but it was for everybody.
Right.
Everybody was earning less.
Yeah.
The one thing that they had is the stability of knowing that they're going to be with the company. They're going to have a place. And I basically got the team together and I said, okay. And this was all obviously on Zoom or whatever platform we were using at the time. And I said, let's sharpen our swords. Let's get better at business development. Let's get better at training. Let's get better at service protocols. Let's build our foundation for the future. And let's call our clients. Let's call our clients not to ask them about hiring, because that's the wrong move. Let's call our clients to figure out what's happening with them.
Right.
Right.
Let's build deeper bonds with our employers, do a deep dive to find out what this event has done in terms of an impact in their enterprise.
Right.
Because the only thing that I know for sure is that change is the only constant. Everything's always evolving. Everything's always changing. Nothing is remaining status quo.
Right.
Now, at that point, we were in a declining state, but I knew that there would be a point where we'd start to rise again. The one thing we didn't want to do is let go of all the relationships that we had. What I wish I had done then is probably set up a podcast like this. That would have been a great move, right?
Sure.
But that's too late. So that's all we did is we stayed in touch with our employers. I trained the team, made sure that they were, there was a lot of mental health problems going on back then too.
For sure.
We were all suffering. We were all in a pressure cooker. I remember my teammates coming to me and saying, Greg, you know what? I don't know how you're doing it, but thank you. Because these little sessions, even though they feel like, like nothing maybe to you, to me, they mean the world, because I'm stuck here at home and having that sense of belonging with the team and hearing your voice and how inspired you are and reassuring you are that this too shall pass.
Yeah.
Those were really pivotal moments. And I'm very proud to say we didn't really lose anybody of great magnitude to our enterprise. We lost some people, but our key players I was able to retain through that period of time, and level them up in terms of skill sets, right? So
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, we sharpened our swords. That's what we did.
Very good.
Yeah.
Came out strong.
We did come out strong.
Yeah.
Again, in hindsight, what I should have done then, and it's a move that I've learned to now make, and I'm actually making this move now in this recession that we're in, is I should have hired. Counterintuitive, I know.
Right.
I should have hired then and there. There were so many talented people on the market. They were all furloughed, right? They were all on the market. They had CERB, they had all this stuff going on, right? Like the best of the best were on the market. That's the time to go.
Right.
Right? When everybody's fearful, be greedy, right?
Right.
That should have been the moment where I would have gone in to go take some talent. The problem is I didn't think that what happened next would happen. And what happened next was an onslaught.
Right.
It was like nothing I've ever seen, man.
Yeah.
Like picture a beach ball. Let's just say we're in the ocean right now, right? I take a beach ball and I push it down in the water and then I let it go.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. A big pop.
Yeah.
We were flooded with jobs in 2022.
Yeah.
We couldn't cope.
Right.
Like it was all hands on deck. We had to stop marketing, like literally stop, because it was like we couldn't. There was no way we were going to be able to fill more jobs.
Right.
Our ratio went to like 66% fill, which was terrible. I like to be at 90.
Right.
When I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Not 66% of the time, 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Right. In terms of requisitions. Right.
Yeah.
So I fixed that problem by 2023. We had hired more, and then we were good. Then of course it tapered off, and we're in this weird period of time that we're in now.
Right.
It's a very weird time.
It is a weird time.
Yeah.
I think we should probably move on to the second segment.
Sure.
And essentially, we just want you to like top of mind, first thing that comes off your tongue, like answer these questions the way that you view the answer. Right?
Yeah.
And
gut reaction.
Gut reaction. We want the rawness from Greg.
I got you.
All right. Okay. So Aziz, maybe you can start with the first set.
Yeah, we'll kick it off. Hire fast or slow?
Slow.
Which you mentioned, I remember. Skills or attitude?
Attitude.
Culture fit or culture add?
That's a tough one. They're all culture ads. I'll go with culture ad.
I love that. Sorry, I'm gonna pause that right there, because I feel like whenever I hear cultural fit, I'm like, hey, I bring my own set of things to the table, right? I don't want to fit into a box that exists. I want to add let us experiment together and grow together and build culture. So I love that response.
Everybody you bring into the mix adds to the culture.
Yes.
You can't fabricate culture. Fabrication of culture is a myth. The only way to do it is by bringing the right people together. It's like mixing a track, right?
Yeah.
100%.
You're either bringing in the right track or not, right?
Yeah. Let's make sure it's the right BPM.
That's right. Mix it correctly. Put it on sync.
Yeah.
When it comes to hiring, job boards or social media?
Referrals.
Love that.
Nice.
The last one for me is quantity of applicants or quality of applicants?
Quality, 100%.
Okay, I'll start on mine. AI or human sourcing?
Human.
Okay. Remote or in office?
In office.
5 days a week?
Yep.
Good Lord. Inbound or outbound?
Outbound.
Why?
I like connecting.
Marketing first or sales first?
Sales.
I'll do one more. This is a good one. Sell the role or sell the company?
Sell the company.
Nice.
Yeah.
Greg, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thanks
This
for
was
joining
fun.
us.
This was great.
I think we should
It was.
definitely do this again. We'll do another round when we go past episode 100. We'll have Greg back in here again.
Absolutely.
I'd love that. That'd be great. Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
All
See you guys soon.
Okay.